What up, YouTube? It's your boy Grizz on Grizz TV, here with an exclusive deck profile. You only see it here on Grizz TV, and maybe somebody else's channel later, but you'll see it here first. It's my boy Hanson, Terabella, whatever. I call him Hanson the Terrible. My buddy, one of my arch rivals. He got first place at the Mississippi Regionals, playing exactly what you see on the mat, GKs. So we're going to run through his deck profile, his sideboard, his extra, and we're going to ask him about his matchups. And if he doesn't remember, then we'll make something up and we'll know whatever. So, you ready to go ahead and start?
Perfect to say, we'll make something up. So now if they hear me say something, wait, was that true or wasn't it?
Well, they can check the website. I mean, whatever. Alright, you know, I've gotten a lot of viewers who've asked me about this deck profile, so let's get into it, man. So...
Okay, well, Gravekeepers are Gravekeepers. You run heavy back row, but for a monster lineup, I do 3 Commandant because what are Gravekeepers without Necro Valley?
True.
3 Spies because Spy is Spy is Spy.
See what you did there.
It true be.
3 Recruiters. Some people like him as a 2 of this format because they say he's slow, but he's still one of the best searchers for the deck. A lot of the times when you set a monster, people will want to destroy it because they're going to think it's Spy. They'll try to destroy it before it has a chance to flip face up, and whenever they see a Recruiter, it comes to a surprise to them. You can use him. He's basically another link to Necro Valley. You get rid of him, he gets a Commandant. Commandant gets you Necro Valley. He's one of the search cards for it.
Standard combo.
Yep. Thing I used him to search for the most in the tournament was Commandant and for Heretic because I'll get to him later. Some people don't see him as a necessity, but a Heretic won me so many games just poking my opponent to death. 2 Descendant, because you don't really rely on the Descendant and Recruiter play as much, but it's still one of the biggest combos in the deck, and it still affects the most. You have no idea how many times people asked me, wait, Descendant is more than once? Everyone thought it was a once per turn effect, but he can do both, so when you have a Spy face down, you can flip it face up, get whichever one you don't have in hand, summon the other one, and if you have 2 cards that you really don't want to decide between destroying, you can just tribute Spy and Recruiter. I did that a lot in the tournament as well.
RTFC, read the fucking cards, people.
Seriously.
2 Assailant. Assailant I like as a card still because it gets over a lot of monsters that most other things can't whenever they have a ridiculously high attack. And, you know, you can't destroy them with effects. You can't summon 2 monsters in one turn. Gravekeepers are still slow, I'll give them that. That's why you need a lot of traps for the deck. It's hard to get more than 1 monster out, especially if you don't have Spy. It's pretty much impossible.
By nature,
and whenever you need 1 card to get over something, Assailant usually comes in handy.
Right. Before we move on to the next... Right. Before we move on to the next card, I mean, I just want to say that by nature, Gravekeepers are a control deck. Please stop trying to make OTKs. It's not what the deck is designed for.
It's a slow deck. You're going to have to get used to it if you want to be good with it. 1 Heretic.
That bitch.
Because, again, I say, people don't like him whenever they read him as a card. They think he's not good. You put it across the table from them, and they don't know how to get rid of him. He has 1800 attack. They can whack over him pretty easily. That's why you run all the back row in the world. Granted, he does not get the 500 attack from Necro Valley. While Necro Valley's on the field, nothing else can affect him. What are majority of decks built around these days, people? Destroying monsters with card effects. Removing monsters from the field with card effects.
I hate him personally. Fuck that card.
That's all my monsters. My spell lineup, 3 MSTs, because, you know, you run all the back row in the world, it's not really going to make a bit of difference if you have back row, your opponent has back row. I wanted to only run 2 as far as back row destruction goes, but I also ran 3 MSTs because of the simple fact that it was served as a field barrier for me. Whenever I had Necro Valley on the field, my opponent went to play a field card, and I would activate MST just so my Necro Valley would stay on the field. 3 Pot of Duality. You don't special summon a whole lot in the deck. It helps so you make sure you have the right card, and first turn it's really good to give you the Necro Valley Royal Tribute combo.
True story.
Now, only other spell card I ran 3 of, obviously, Necro Valley.
Because you lose if you don't have 3.
Yeah.
Simple explanation.
Doesn't really need much description. It's a Gravekeeper deck, 3 Necro Valleys, kind of mandatory.
You need to get ultimates. Other than that, nothing else to say about that.
Ultra is my personal favorite rarity. 2 Stales. Gravekeeper Stale comes in handy a lot. I only ran 1 Heretic, mostly because of this. You can just add him right back to hand if you need to. It helps recycle. You load your graveyard up pretty easily with Descendant. It's unaffected by Necro Valley. I just like Stale in general. It helps you keep your monster lineup, because I only run a total of 14 monsters. This just helps keep them in my hand. 1 Royal Tribute, because, you know, it's kind of limited to 1. It's Royal Tribute. Nothing more needs to be said. Book of Moon.
Thank you. Because people stop playing that card, and now that's why you lose matches.
3 Imperial Tombs. Some people thought that this was too much. They only wanted to see 1. My Imperial Tomb served me very well during regionals. Even if you get 2, you set 1, you pass your turn, you use it during your opponent's turn. It's a solemn judgment for Gravekeepers. Why would you not run 3?
It's Infernity Barrier.
Seriously.
That's only once per turn.
I mean,
So
3
3.
Fiendish Chain. Yeah,
Now, why did you choose
now,
3 over?
Yeah.
The reason
playing
that I
2?
run 3 Fiendish Chain is because with Gravekeepers, you don't always have to worry about stopping effects. That's not always the thing. But you also need to stop the attacks. Some people ask me why I ran Fiendish Chain over Breakthrough Skills, stuff like that, because you're more worried about stopping your opponent's attack. Whenever you have your spy face down, you honestly want to flip it face up by flip summoning it. If your opponent attacks into it and kills it, you still have another monster out there, but you really do. I relied on tributing Spy a lot of the time with Descendant, so this helped more so to stop my opponent from attacking rather than going off.
kind of messes up Belsey too. Or Bills.
Yeah, Bills. Well,
Bills A. I actually didn't see a single Bills A in the regionals.
Kidding.
I'll go over what decks I played as soon as I get done with this.
Alright.
The cards I ran 1 of.
standard, except for the 7 tools,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
just a random-
7 Tools I really like as a card in general just because it's a counter trap.
It stops Solemn Warning. So.
It ends the chains. Whenever you have chains that you want to just be over, you activate a counter trap, done.
true.
This is,
There's no explanation for the rest of them there.
Like I said about about protecting the Gravekeeper spies from being attacked. 2 Mirror Force, 2 Deep Prison.
Mirror
Standard
Force
draft lineup.
isn't dead, folks.
No,
Everybody,
Mirror Force is not dead.
just to
When
let
you see
y'all
most
know,
decks do this format.
just to let y'all know that everybody in our group for the most part has an invite to Nets, except me for this moment. And again, I'll post on my channel the video of all the salt I have with the Little Rock Regional, including it with that guy. Anyway, back to this deck profile.
So now we'll go ahead and go with the sideboard.
Alright.
Shaman.
Okay.
Shaman was honestly my favorite card to side in. There was a total of 1 game where I did not side her in. She helps out for some of Gravekeeper's normal matchups that they're usually in the low against. For example, Dark Worlds. She stops all their effects from kicking off in Graveyard. Most people only see Shaman as a field barrier, but her effect that I love the most is that every monster's effect that triggers in Graveyard other than Gravekeeper monsters don't work.
Alright, it hurts Madolches as well.
Yeah.
And
And I mean, she's a field barrier as well.
True.
She's 1500
A lot
attack,
of decks.
1500 defense, so you can search her out with any searcher for the Gravekeepers. Recruiter searches her because she's 15 defense. You can spec her with Spy because she's 1500 attack.
True.
She's good as a 1-of because, like I said, you can search for her with almost anything. Rivalry of Warlords. I ran a complete Gravekeeper build. It's all spellcasters. There's a lot of decks this format that don't really rely on running more than 1 types, but they still end up putting a couple of other types in there.
Okay.
Madolches go around Beast, Warrior, Spellcaster.
Yeah.
That.
It also
Some
helps
decks-
against the Quasar matchup.
Yeah, it does. Wind-ups, a couple of people are trying to bring back. This completely shut them down when I played against them. So, Rivalry of Warlord, I like as a sideboard. Deck Dev, for when I go against Geargias, screw Geargias. That's
Thank
probably
you.
the biggest matchup that I have the downside against.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Necro Valley does nothing.
Hey, it stops Hundreds too.
Any low-level deck, but
Yeah.
Gigi is mostly.
Fairy Winds for when you go against, pick something. Fire Fists, biggest matchup. Madolches, it screws up Ticket in the field card.
The only downside is if you see that full house.
Yeah. Full House, actually, the only game that I lost in this regionals was to Full House. The only match that I lost. It helped me out, strangely enough, playing against Noble Knights. I ended up destroying one of their equip cards, and as soon as he went to equip it back, I did Fairy Wind.
Interesting way of using that card.
Light Imprisoning Mirrors.
Standard.
Yeah. Standard card when I play against, mostly for when I played against Constellars and for when I played against Bujins, but I didn't see a single Bujin deck, sadly.
I know.
Again. Overwork.
The
Again,
fist.
standard card. Any
Seriously.
deck that runs Tinky automatically gives the 100 boost.
How'd you deal with overworked with the grave with your Necro Valley on board? Was it just with Heretic? Did you just wait till you had Heretic, or did you...
There was only a couple of games where I did it with Heretic. Heretic wouldn't only not be destroyed because of
He also doesn't get the boost.
Exactly.
So.
He doesn't get the boost, and he's unaffected. But no, if I had monsters around it, usually Overwork just did that. Most of the time, I'd have my spy face down whenever I activated Overwork.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Mind Crush.
Standard.
What decks don't search this format?
Yeah.
Or any format.
Yeah. Blackhorns, mostly for Geargias, but again, standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The extra deck, I actually didn't use hardly any.
Alright, let's get to that.
Yeah.
So this video doesn't be 20 minutes long. We're going to try to speed things up a bit.
I ran one of each of these. I didn't go into any of them the entire tournament. It was just so I had the option. Diamond Dire, Cowboy, Emerald, 2 101s, Poplar Operative, Black Ship, Master Key Beetle, Downerd, and Mace Stroke. The only exceeds that I went into the entire tournament, Downerd 1 game, Master Key Beetle 1 game, 101.
No Cowboy?
And no, you're right. I did go into Cowboy 1 game. I forgot about that game against that Mermail player. Every other one just kind of sat there if I needed them, but I never really did. Gravekeepers, for the most part, don't really need the extra deck. Sometimes they just give you that boost you need to win.
It's just there.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good.
It's just something that you have. You don't really rely on it, though.
Yeah.
So before we go, well actually, yeah, we'll do your matchups first, and then I'm going to ask a couple questions for those
Alright.
people who have issue with understanding how the hell Gravekeepers won. First of all, they've been a good deck the whole time. I hate the deck personally. I'll never play it. You'll never see me saying I talked with it on my channel, played with it at a local. I will never play Gravekeepers. But fuck you. Anyway,
The first deck that I played against was the deck, I don't really know what people call it. It's mostly built around teleporting. It has Wind Up Rabbit, Evil Swarm Thunderbird,
Oh, okay.
Black Garden. I don't know what the
it's
name
that stun beat deck.
Yeah, I played against that first match, and the guy actually did really good. He just got really bad hands. The first game he opened up with, I played Necro Valley. He played Black Garden. I MST'd his Black Garden. Like I said, the field berry for Necro Valley.
Yeah,
and from that point, he couldn't really do anything. I beat him that game. And the second game, he opened up with nothing. All he had was one monster. He had a whole hand of monsters. He played a monster, I killed it. He played a monster, I killed it, until eventually I just wiped him to death with life points. My second match, I played against Heretics. First game, they set one monster.
Was this a 2-0 or 1-2? What was the match count?
Oh, for the wind-ups?
Yeah.
Whatever those were, the teleports, I
Heretics.
swept them.
Okay.
It was 2-0. For Heretics, I also beat them 2-0 the first game. I ended up playing against them. It just went really down to monster after monster. My traps got over his stuff, and I attacked him directly. The second game was pretty sad, actually. I opened up with Royal Tribute. He told me I could go first. I don't know why. I opened up with Royal Tribute and
The
he had
OTK.
nothing but monsters in
It's
hand.
the OTK theory, but you know, we're not Japan. People
my
around here
third
don't
game-
play for fun.
Was wind-ups. That was probably one of the games that gave me the most trouble. I honestly wouldn't have won if I did not sideboard in my Rivalry Warlords. I luckily drew into both of those, both my hands. Like,
Game 2 and 3.
yeah, I lost game 1. Game 2, I drew into both rivalries. I set both of them. I activated one. It took him forever to get over it, and then as soon as he did, I activated another one, and he scooped. The next, game 3, I opened up with both of them again. I went first. No, he went first, sorry. He went first. He summoned an Alucard. I set both my rivalries, and when I did, past turn, during his draw phase, I acted both rivalries so he couldn't destroy one with Alucard. He had Alucard on his field, which is a zombie. He's playing wind-ups. He had nothing he could do from that point.
True.
This is very true.
That's the only reason I beat them. Mermails actually gave me a pretty good run for my money. We were extremely quick in finishing our match. I beat them first game. I opened up perfectly. I did Royal Tribute on top of that. I ended up getting Gravekeeper, Spy, and Recruiter. I went for the whole combo and killed him. And second game, he beat me fairly quickly. He used Abyss Megalo, whacked me directly twice, killed me. And third game, we ended up going into a pretty long match, actually. He probably would have beat me had he not forgotten about Necro Valley. He went into an extremely long process of a play that he was planning to kill me that turn with, but he pitched Gunday and forgot that Necro Valley was on the field. So Gunday couldn't get her effect off to spec summon back from Graveyard.
Overthinking yourself. That's your problems.
Yeah.
Fire Kings. Oh my gosh, Fire Kings.
Fuck
Well,
that, dude.
with the monster, count in this deck being low already kind of gives them a downside with Garunix. You know, I work really hard to get what monsters I do get out there, and then when I do, they go bye-bye. I learned a ruling about Garunix. Apparently, if you solemn warning him when he's in the graveyard, or, in my case, if you Imperial Tombs and Necro Valley him while he's in the graveyard, he doesn't come back at all. If he's destroyed in the graveyard, his effect does not kick off because it's not technically destroyed, he's just being negated.
Learn something new today. Learn, kids. Read your
And,
Yu-Gi-Oh books.
the reason that they beat me was mostly because of Full House.
Yeah.
They Full House blew up 5 of my cards. I couldn't really come back from that.
True.
I had Fiendish, Necro Valley. I don't remember what face downs were destroyed, but pretty much I got shat on. That game I was completely dominated. And then third game we again fought it out, but he ended up coming around and beating me. Okay, so the fifth matchup, interestingly enough, was Noble Knights. That's the one I told y'all about where Fairy Wind ended up winning it for me. That's just a basic match. I really don't have much to say about that one. Six Samurais, that went into an incredibly long play in the last matchup. We traded pretty well. He beat me first game, I beat him second game, and then third game I came around and beat him. I ended up royal tributing him, and he still came back for the most part, so I have a lot of respect for the guy. He had Sheehan on the field, and what's the level 2 tuner's name? Kagemusha. I had a D-Prison, Bottomless, and Book of Moon face down, and he went to attack into my Spy. My Spy was face up, and Fiendished. I flipped her face up the turn before, and he Fiendished her. Well, he ended up getting Sheehan out. When he summoned Sheehan, I activated Bottomless to force Sheehan's effect. He attacked into my Spy with a Sheehan, and I went to do D-Prison, and so he banished his Kagemusha instead. I had Necro Valley on the field, and then after he banished Kagemusha, I Book of Mooned my Gravekeeper Spy to go face down. So when he attacked into it with Sheehan,
So it was all in
off.
one chain. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Its effect went off, and it stayed on the field because I had 2,500 defense. I ended up coming around and beating him after that. My last matchup, Girgia. Actually, that match was the most difficult one that I had overall. Windups in it were pretty close together, but overall, Girgia's was the most difficult. Like I said, I hate going against Girgia's. First game, yep, the dude pretty much shot on me. It just, Girgia's, what can I say? Second game, I ended up beating him. Third game, he got into it where he could have OTK'd me, but the guy ended up having something come up and left. I feel like he could have beat me if he would have played it out. I don't know if he felt like I had something important, like face down in my back row or what, but it was definitely an impressive match. I hope to see the guy in regionals. He's a really good player. Overall, that was all my matches.
Alright, so the last questions before we close this video out is, what would you change about the deck, if anything, sideboard, extra deck, main deck, anything that you would change, especially seeing that Full House does fuck you pretty hard.
I'd actually like to add some Full Houses into my sideboard myself.
That's the only change?
Fairy Winds didn't come in handy as much as I would have liked them to, mostly because I didn't play against Fire Fists or Bujins or anything like that. So the biggest change that I would probably do is put throwing Full House in, but overall I really liked how my deck worked.
Alright, man. Me and you probably fight it out in a couple regionals to come.
Don't we always?
Got to. So it's your boy Grizz. This is the exclusive deck profile y'all been asking, y'all been waiting, y'all been hitting me up on Facebook. I even got a couple Instagrams about the deck profile. Whatever. Also, I'm just gonna address it while I'm on my channel. Any controversy involving anything from any event, unless someone can bring me substantial proof, people is a legit win to me. So don't down people because they top with something that you don't want them to top with. Don't say anything negative about them. If you fill up my comments with bullshit, I'm just gonna look at them. I'm not gonna reply. I'm not gonna argue with anyone over social media of any form. With that being said, I want y'all to rate, comment, and subscribe so I can bring you more exclusive deck profiles, and you'll probably actually see a couple matches where me and him fight it out with a couple different decks. Got a couple things on the way. We're going to a regional next week. I'm not going to tell you guys what anyone is playing. He may not be playing this, so don't be like, oh, I'm going to side for Gravekeepers and fuck him up, because he might not be playing it.
He's playing Fire Kings.
Alright, he's telling you he's playing Fire Kings. So,
No, I said he's playing Fire Kings. The guy talking's playing Fire Kings.
I may. thinking about it. Depends if my wolf bark comes in. But it's your boy Grizz TV signing out.